Hey guys, welcome back to Neutral Gaming, and we're here for another episode of Cool Story, bro. We're back after the short hiatus we had during the international finals. I'm very excited to share with you guys our experience there. So tune in for the videos that we will be uploading throughout the weekend for how it was like being attendee of the TI finals at the Singapore Indoor Stadium. Very excited for those. I've yet to edit those videos, but I'll do that right after we do this episode for Cool Story, bro. But for now, since we're doing our Cool Story Bro episode, let's get on to the news. As you may already know by now, Tundra Esports became the champions for the International 2022 as they beat Team Secret in a clean sweep in the grand finals of the International 11. It was such a methodical and very pristine victory. Their championship clashes against Team Secret were so clinical, and to be honest guys, sometimes it was very dreary to watch. No offense to Tundra Esports, and actually big props to AUI 2000 for managing to win a championship once as a player and now as a coach. But you know, the way Tundra Esports won their championship is, no offense to them, it was very boring. And I'm not saying that they're not a good team. They're actually one of the best teams I've ever seen. And the way they won is by exploiting the game mechanics, and that really shows how much knowledge they have and how much they understand the game. And that's actually a really good thing for a champion. You guys know that OG is one of my most favorite teams of all time, and that I even rank OG as the best championship team from TI history in the video that I released last week. Not only because they won the championship twice, but also because I think the way OG played back in 2018 is the best way to play Dota. Really flashy, taking all of those risks and seeing them paying off. There was this interview we had with Poppy during the media scrum during the international for the final four teams, and he also said that Poppy and I think the same, that the two-time champions played Dota 2 the way Dota 2 should be played. And you know, esports is a spectator sport, so as a fan and as an audience, I would like to enjoy, be entertained when I watch these matches. And well, it's interesting to find out how Tundra actually won by using maths and using their brains and using strategies that no other teams figured out. But sorry, it just wasn't entertaining to watch. I actually fell asleep a couple of times at the Singapore Indoor Stadium. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy my time there in Singapore. I actually had a lot of fun and a lot of exciting moments there in the Singapore Indoor Stadium. I really love the storylines and watching Team Secret and Team Liquid play, the hyped up crowd, the cheering for Matumba Man. All of those were really good memories that I will cherish in my heart forever. And props to AUI 2000 as well for, you know, becoming a two-time champion at this point. And I'm a really big fan of AUI ever since EG, and really think that they did a very big mistake in kicking him right after winning the Aegis. But you know, Tundra just wasn't my favorite, I guess. I don't like watching them. And I'll admit fully that Tundra Esports is one of the best teams of all time. Why? Because, you know, when I saw with my very own eyes during day one of the grand finals, the way they beat Team Secret, I realized that whoever wins between Team Secret and Team Liquid in the lower bracket finals, heck, these guys cannot even tie the shoes of Tundra Esports. That's how good they were in Dota 2. They just weren't fun to watch. But enough of that rambling. You know what's fun? Diretide. So Diretide just came out yesterday, and I must admit the previous Diretides were, in my opinion, better and more fun. But still, Diretide this year is still fun to play. And you know, unlike others there who associate stressful situations with Dota 2, I still associate having fun with Dota 2. And even though we have a lot of arcade modes out there that really encapsulates or shows us how much fun we could have within the realm of Dota 2 as a game, it's so fun to have all of these official game modes that's made and curated by Valve that shows us just how much fun Dota 2 can be outside of the 3 lanes of the map. And, this is exactly what I think Dota really needs right now. It could get really stale sometimes, but you could have new heroes. That's always exciting when you have new heroes, but having a new game mode is always fun and it always feels special, and Diretide is no different. And I really just love it when Dota 2 sometimes doesn't take itself too seriously. Diretide has a very whimsical premise wherein we have these candy-loving Greevils who steal candies from Roshan's pit. So Roshan goes out to reclaim his taffy, and the way heroes see it is it's an opportunity to break the towers of the enemy, so they take all of the candies that they could take from these Greevils and put it into the wells that's found in the enemy base so that Roshan would come knocking and destroy their wells. It's very whimsical premise, but it works and it's fun. So if you haven't tried Diretide yet, please do yourself a favor and collect those candies. Speaking of doing yourself a favor, sometimes taking a social media break could be the best thing you could do for yourself. That's exactly what Nibel did. If you don't know who Nibel is, then I'll give you a little bit of primer. Nibel isn't exactly a video games journalist, but we call him a video game news curator because he uses his Twitter platform in collecting newsworthy articles and reporting on stuff that needs to get a lot of more views. And he uses his platform also to bring to light a lot of the things that goes behind the scenes that we think should be highlighted. So he doesn't exactly break these news or do investigative journalism, but he reports important stuff, and in that way he's able to get more eyeballs into these news pieces. And actually, even for myself as a video games journalist, it's actually very useful for me to follow him because I could miss these breaking news sometimes and I would see him reporting on them, and in some ways it's what cues me into what I should be reporting and what things should I look into. And having him around Twitter actually made it easier for me sometimes to find new things, discover things, and to learn new things about the video game industry and to get more context about the news that we report about. Sadly, those days are behind us now because Nibel has decided to leave Twitter. He's no longer reporting on all of these news pieces anymore. And just like many of us who do stuff for the internet, it's not like he was doing it for the money. He was doing it because he loved doing what he was doing. But sometimes there comes a point when you get a lot of fame in the internet and you get a lot of clout that you'll have to decide whether or not you'd like to take this to the next level, monetize it and turn this into something like a full-time job so that you could pour in all of your energy and all of your time into this thing that you're doing on the internet and still make a living. Sadly, for Nibel's case, he wasn't able to do that with Twitter, and he just realized that he could be spending his time doing something else and he would be earning way more money, or it's not always about the money, but he just realized that he probably wants to spend his time more on other things now than doing this reporting on Twitter without earning any money out of it. I really enjoyed having Nibel around, but now that he's gone, well, RIP to you, bro. You were really helpful, you were really entertaining to see on Twitter. But first things first, you always have to take care of yourself. So, I respect your decision, and I hope the best for you. On to our next news. There's a new Level Infinite game called NIKKE. Level Infinite, the ones who made Tower of Fantasy, they have a new game. And you can download it now on your Android or iOS device. For now, I'm just reporting on it because I haven't actually have gotten the time yet to play it. I've been really busy at work and we just came back from the international and I still have a lot of videos to edit. But I've seen some of my friends play it already and I've heard good things about it on Facebook and Twitter, so I just thought that you guys might want to check it out as well. From what I know, NIKKE is another gacha game, so if you're into that, then you should try this out, especially since from what I've heard, they've got really good characters. Wink wink, if you know what I mean. I'll get to playing this game when I get the chance, but for now, you guys enjoy it first. On to our next news piece. Have you heard of the game called The Store is Closed? Well, if you haven't yet, then probably it's time for you to start taking notes because there's a lot of attention on it right now. To put it simply, the story is closed is a co-op game where you're stuck inside a mall that pretty much looks like IKEA. As for the gameplay, just imagine that you're playing Goat Simulator, but you're humans and you're wrecking an IKEA mall. And that's exactly the reason why there's a lot of attention in this game right now, as IKEA itself sent the solo indie developer a cease and desist letter. Sometimes you'd think that these brands would always like to get the attention because of how hard it is to stay relevant nowadays, but apparently IKEA doesn't appreciate getting this kind of attention. Unfortunately, you can't play this game yet before it gets totally closed off by IKEA because the game hasn't been released yet, and even though it has raised $49,000 in a successful Kickstarter campaign, this game might end up not being published at all. Because when you receive a cease and desist order, it's either you comply and don't publish the game at all, or you revamp the game enough that it will not look like an IKEA store anymore. But you know, that is completely the appeal of the game, and I think you're going to piss off a lot of your donors in Kickstarter if you kind of change that thing. So I don't envy these people who are picking the stories closed, but at the same time, kinda had it coming. Key takeaway from this episode: IKEA are killjoys. And for our final news piece this evening, we have LeBron James. Yes, that NBA star LeBron James. And his son Bronny appearing in a God of War ad, of all places. And that's not yet even the craziest part of this ad. You know, this ad has Ben Stiller in it, and you have John Travolta in it. So not only is it funny, it's also very surreal and also strange at the same time. You have Ben Stiller cosplaying as Kratos of God of War, and him using his experience playing God of War Ragnarok to give advice to parents and children on how they can mend their relationships with each other. And this ad campaign is totally not needed by God of War Ragnarok because people will definitely buy it, and it's probably going to be a Game of the Year contender this year because of just how great the game is. But sometimes you can do things just for fun even if you don't really need to do them, and I'm totally sure that Santa Monica Studios really just did this for fun because God of War Ragnarok doesn't need all of these star power to endorse it because the game apparently is really good. I just enjoy it when ads don't take themselves too seriously sometimes, and you know, this is a great icing on the cake of what God of War Ragnarok is going to be. And really just excited to get my hands on the game and play it finally because of how good the reception has been from video game critics so far. Unfortunately, I didn't get a code, so I didn't get to play it in early access, but that's fine with me. I'll just play it on my own time after the release and enjoy it without having to worry about a review. So unless you've been living under a rock, you should probably know by now that God of War Ragnarok is a really big thing and that you should totally check it out if you have a PlayStation. But if you have a PlayStation, if you're not even planning to play God of War Ragnarok, then I don't know what pleases you, and you're a scary person. But yeah, God of War Ragnarok's coming out. You should totally pick it up. And that's it for this episode of Cool Story Bro. I hope you guys enjoyed our little episode for today, and I hope that you enjoy the videos that we will be releasing throughout this weekend. And I hope you guys would also tune in next week for our next episode. But until then, stay frosty.